Now, before you watch this video, I want you to pay attention. Unlike Mr. Tuga, the former Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mrs. Bianca Ojukwu, the current Minister of Foreign Affairs, has taken a stance against South Africa. She has called out South Africa, the government of South Africa. She's called them out for not doing enough to protect Nigerian lives, for tacitly encouraging xenophobic attacks. The police of South Africa, they are not doing enough. In fact, they just watch South Africans loot Nigerian businesses, kill Nigerians and other Africans, and do nothing about it. So here she's slamming them and talking seriously in strong terms. As a matter of fact, even calling for retaliatory measures against South Africa and the RSF. She recalled how Nigerians stood for South Africa against apartheid and helped them gain their freedom. She talked about the ineptitude of the government of Ramaphosa against, on this issue. In fact, she even introduced a term, Afriphobia. She said what is actually happening in South Africa is Afriphobia, not xenophobia, because there are attacks. The attacks against foreigners are against black foreigners, Africans, not Europeans, not Caucasians or the whites, not other races, but the blacks. At the end of this video, I'm going to come back to explain that term, Afriphobia, in practical terms, and give you live stories on how this happened. Let's watch.
Our citizens are being harassed. Our citizens, their properties are being looted. Criminal actions are perpetuated on our citizens. The police refuse to do anything. The South African government has not come out strongly, firmly enough to condemn these incidents. So our citizens are imperiled. They are in distress. So they cannot be said to be illegal migrants. People who are doing legitimate business have their shops looted. They have their shops set on fire. Children cannot go to school because they are intimidated in their schools. So to say that Nigerians who are in South Africa doing legitimate business are illegal migrants is absolutely untrue. Nigeria is not happy because Nigeria has sacrificed much for the South African struggle for independence. Nigeria sacrificed quite a lot, committed funds, committed resources to aid South Africa. In schools, seats were reserved for South African students. My own generation, we carried placards. We demonstrated in front of South African assets. Sometimes we even got arrested for doing this. And Nigeria is a serious frontline state. And Nigerians are not happy about how they have treated us. They are not asking other migrants to leave. They're only asking black migrants to leave.
Are we looking at the possibility of retaliatory measures?
That is a situation that we are considering. This is up to our legislature. This is up to the highest. This is a decision that has to be taken at the highest level of government, but it's not off the table. This evacuation is being undertaken with NEMA. We're doing that with various government agencies and parastatals to ensure that once they come in, they can be rehabilitated.
Well, Nigeria's Foreign Affairs Minister, Bianca Ojukwu, is speaking out. And she's not holding back. She addressed State House correspondents at the presidential villa on Monday, declaring that Nigeria is not happy with South Africa over what she described as Afriphobia, a term she says is more accurate than xenophobia, noting that the attacks specifically target black African foreigners. Well, the federal government has now revealed that it is considering retaliatory measures against South Africa over the treatment of Nigerians in the country, though Bianca Ojukwu stressed that any such decision will require consideration at the highest levels of government, including National Assembly. Meanwhile, the streets of South Africa tell a different story. Anti-immigrant protesters marched through Kwathema Township outside Johannesburg on Monday, just one day after President Cyril Ramaphosa vowed to crack down on vigilante groups, with organizers vowing to press ahead despite the president's speech.
And there you have it. Now let's bring you a story about Afrophobia. The chairman of the Boer group, Abdul Samad Rabiu, you know him, very popular in Nigeria. And that's the second richest man in Africa. Now, this man traveled to South Africa. This is a story he told by himself. I listened to him. So he traveled to South Africa, not knowing that his visa has expired the previous day. When he got to South Africa, he was denied entry and on the grounds that his visa was expired. So that was the first time he realized his visa had actually expired. So he said they asked him to wait for a while. So while he was waiting, he said he waited for 4 hours. Meanwhile, while he was waiting, 3 aircraft landed. 3 aircraft landed there, and these the passengers were from Europe, and these aircrafts came from Europe. All European passengers on board were cleared, were given entry. They were never checked. Nobody checked whether their passports whether they even had passports or not. They all entered without being checked, without their visas being checked. So this man stood there. This is the second richest man from Africa, but because he was black, the immigration officers had to exercise their power, had to do their duty, and turn him back to Nigeria. He returned to Nigeria to renew his visa. What I'm saying is, this is Afrophobia. A European laborer was allowed in without his visa being checked, but the second richest man in Africa was turned back to Nigeria because he is black. This is Afrophobia. What has happened to Africa? What kind of inferiority complex is in Africans? I mean, why do Africans treat themselves this way? I'm doing a documentary on this. I'm doing a documentary on Afrophobia, xenophobia and Afrophobia. Okay, very soon that documentary will be ready. I'm compiling the history of xenophobia and all of the incidences. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe for more.